Titanic Belfast was recently named as the best visitor attraction in Europe, coming ahead of the likes of the Eiffel Tower and the London Eye. So what makes it so special? Well, first of all, its impressive architectural style. Each corner of this magnificent structure is built to the measurements of Titanic's bow. Moving inside, we find a captivating atrium spanning all 6 floors of the museum. As spectacular as this is, it doesn't explain why the attraction is so revered.
It's probably one of the most authentic tourist attractions in the world, let alone Europe. We're actually on the site where Titanic was designed, where it was built, and then down the slipways where it was ultimately launched. So people are really buying into their heritage at the moment across Europe, and I think that gives them both that sense of reality, that sense of authenticity, but also enables them to interpret the story to a great level of detail that they've not had before previously.
The museum is famous for its replica of the grand staircase from the ship, and this has helped draw in over 2 million visitors since its opening in 2012. Now let's find out what else it has to offer.
In the galleries, we start off with the social context of why Belfast was so important in the early 1900s, why it was one of those leading cities of engineering and mechanical terms right across the world. It sets the scene for the shipbuilding industry and all the other industries, so it tells you a little bit about the background. Then we take you up through an industrial lift. It takes you up into the Arrow gantry. And we take you actually into a shipyard, on a shipyard ride, so you get into a cart, 6 people in each cart, and it takes you through some of the sights, some of the sounds, and actually some of the smells of what it would have been like working in those conditions where 3,500 people built Titanic. After that, we then start almost the journey of the ship itself. We take you through to the launch of how exciting a space it was at that time. About 100,000 people were watching the Titanic as it would slipped its moorings and slipped into the River Lagan. And then we move into the fit-out gallery, which tells you and shows you some of the fantastic craftsmanship that was available in the first, second and third class cabins, through into the start of the journey of the ship, through then into the journey itself, which obviously was a very tragically short space of time. It's the sinking gallery, as we would call it, and it's a very emotional space, a place for contemplation, whereas the visitor now then gets that sense that this was a very true story, and it was a very tragic story. Then we bring it back to current day and talk about some of the films, some of the commercial TV spin-offs that have happened as a result, and then through into the Ballard Theatre, which takes you down actually underneath the sea and shows you the wreck as it currently is in place at the moment and helps you interpret that and shows you some of the advances that have been made.
Well, that's what you can experience here at Titanic Belfast. But is it unique?
It's the only place in the world where the story can be properly interpreted, where we can show you the reality of how Titanic was born and the real journey that it took around the world.
Well, it certainly seems like it's worth a visit. Ricky Thompson, Belfast Telegraph, online.